could be the current alien ambassador. What do you think? And have it, but that's a great idea. We'll put that in Patreon. Don't have anyone in our Patreon, but are in the Patreon, but but it's so fun to put that in there because there's so many, it seems, disinformation trolls on Twitter. I just love the idea of them having to pay to find out, like, who we think their boss is.
Well, you want to have content in your Patreon for when you get your first subscriber. So
yeah, yes.
So need to build that content, and that definitely would be a great one.
Yeah, but I can't see holding it back real long. But I think, like, once the Senate does their hearing, they're gonna have to. I don't know. It's gonna be so hard not to just start to unravel everything. I mean, at some point, the Justice Department has to do a press conference and tell us what criminal investigations are underway right now. Who's being, at some point you have to arrest people if you know they committed, assassinations or crimes. I mean, yeah. So I think stuff's gonna unravel.
So what is the next step? You mentioned the Senate hearing. I hadn't heard anything was scheduled. Have they actually scheduled anything?
That is not scheduled yet, but I made a nice little timeline of events, and I'm gonna put it in our show notes.
Oh, good.
On Hive One, but basically it starts in June 2023 when David Grush first named that they have the highly secreted UFO recovery program. Then the News Nation interview where he names Kirkpatrick as the head of Arrow, in the basically naming a Pentagon official and saying, I told him everything and he has done nothing. It lists all the key points of what he testified to, but the end of it is that 2 days after the hearing, this is what had happened. First, Representative Gates, Luna, Burchett, and Moskowitz publish a letter requesting the formation of a UFO select committee with the power to issue subpoenas. And this was even, might have even been mentioned during the hearing. So that would be powerful. That would give them subpoena power, and that's kind of like, and that's been sent to McCarthy. We haven't heard the answer to that. I don't see how they can stop that from happening. The other thing that happened, curiously, also on July 28th, Eglin Air Force Base announced road closures of specific roads all around, and that's one of the bases where a lot of these secrets seem to be. Then also on July 28th, Susan Go claims Arrow is ready to receive reports, even though it has no way for them to receive reports, and seems to claim in her statement that talking to Congress violates some type of lifelong obligation to her and her bosses. If you look at the language, she quotes lifelong obligation of secrecy, and it's like, who is she saying they need to have this lifelong obligation to?
That's odd.
Yeah. And then also on July 28th, Sean Kirkpatrick publishes his letter on his personal LinkedIn accusing David Grush of lying under oath to Congress, and also claims the hearing was insulting to him and other employees. So that is like, Susan Go and Kirkpatrick are Pentagon officials, and their reaction is possibly threatening of whistleblowers and emotional and defensive. And then also on July 28th, NASA Administrator Bill Nelson, during an official visit to Argentina, has a very strange press conference where he says, because there's so much suspicions about aliens, that NASA is going to prepare and release a report in which NASA is going to let them use satellite data or space-based sensors to help answer this question. So, and I don't have this on the list, but Kirsten Gillibrand said, Senator, and this is by Laszlo got this, she said there is definitely going to be a Senate hearing and she wants Grush to testify. And if you listen to her statement, it's really interesting. She talks about Kirkpatrick, and she says she's like, I know he can, I've asked him to meet with Grush. I think he's the right man for the job. I know he's working hard. It was this really weird, like, positive, like, it feels like Kirkpatrick is like the point of the pressure cooker in the Pentagon right now. He knows he's hung out to dry, and they are both giving him massive, humiliating pressure, showing that he's been lying to Congress, and but also at the same time saying, you're a good man, and we believe in you. I think they're almost nursing him to be their like key to turn him a whistleblower. Because I keep having these visions of Kirkpatrick in a skiff with people talking to him and him saying, you just don't know what they can do to me, you just don't understand what they have against me and how powerful these people are. I just inside I think he's just terrified. That's what I think. Anyone who's still on the inside that hasn't blown the whistle has to be just like, see the writing on the wall. This is coming crashing down.
Well, it's just so remarkable, right? It's just unbelievable the way things, like even right before the hearing, the day before the hearing, it was like, oh, they're not going to be able to do it, right? Just,
oh my gosh, I thought it was going to be canceled. I was like,
yeah.
Are they seriously going to cancel this hearing at the last second? I mean, I was like, I started to really be afraid that was going to happen. It would have been so devastating to just to let them just tell their damn story,
Well, that's the thing, like, it just left so much open. I just so desperately want to hear what they actually know. Like, basically all that's been really addressed is the fact that the government's covering it up, that there's crafts, that there's aliens, but what do they actually know? Right? Like, that's the real key to me, right? Like it's just like building up so much suspense, right? Without actual facts, right? Like, we want to know, where are they from? How many are there? Like, give us the actuals. In the government, they're not asking the right questions, right?
Well, I mean, they asked a lot of good questions. Grush said he won't answer them out in public at this moment, but he said he could answer them. And it's like, I mean, I think we got to remember, he first submitted his inspector general complaints like over a year ago, right? I mean, they've known that everything that he has to say about who's been murdered and who's committed it and where this stuff has been, they've known for a year. They've got a year to plan on what to do with this information before they ever let the public know any of it. So they have to have a game plan. And I think it actually was a great accomplishment to get past that hearing and successfully hold back the stuff they held back. If we go back to our bingo card before the hearing, they managed to avoid some key things on that bingo card. I like Majestic 12, like Antarctica, reptilian. Those are three big, the Vatican. Oh man, if the Vatican had just been named in that hearing. Oh, another News Nation. Did you see that they did a report from the Vatican, from Vatican City, about UFOs and this?
Oh, I did not see that. What did they have anything new in it?
The Vatican refused to talk to them, but they had someone camped out in front of the Vatican doing, and they tried to talk to them. They had a reporter there who apparently had worked the Vatican beat before. So she had relationships with them, and they still refused. But I think it's a great move. We should have reporters sitting in Vatican City just every day, just asking. They should be asking people in front of Vatican City, what do you think of this? I mean, if I was there, I'd have a screen up. I'd be showing David Grish's interview on repeat, and that quote of him saying that the Vatican had a UFO. Like, it's oh man, the pressure that's got to be on the Vatican to come up with some answer. They have to come up with some answer of what their relationship with aliens is. And I think, every religion is going to have this is another thing that struck me on the walk, that you need to tell us, is your religion about worshiping God, or God like an all-powerful, omniscient, spiritual being, or are you worshiping God who is actually like just this dude with a really powerful army and a like that, are you worshiping an alien named God, or are you worshiping God? It's like that scene from Superman 2 where the president kneels before
Mhm.
Zod and he says, God help us. And Zod replies, Zod. It's like, who are you worshiping God or are you worshiping Zod? Like, who is your actual, because it's a big deal for the Vatican. They can't like change their minds. They can't be like, we worship God, but oh no, it's really this guy, this alien who's going to show up in 10 years or 5.
God's an alien and he made all of us.
Yeah. Which is it? Do you worship an
Mhm.
alien or do you worship a invisible God? It's like, who, I mean, every religion needs to like clarify this. Judaism,
Mhm.
are you worshiping like in every religion they have a different name for God? Are you talking about an actual person?
Did
Or
you have a different overseer?
yeah, like, and I mean, because if these aliens do ever show up, it's like they're gonna want to, either some religions, I'm sure, or if the aliens were actually here, if God is just a super powerful alien with our super powerful army and lots of technology, but he just happens to not be here right now because his planet, say it's planet 9 or planet X, and it's on a 22,000-year orbit of Earth, and it's maybe in 5 years it's actually going to be really close to us, and then God will make another appearance. I'm sure there'll be a bunch of religions that are going to want to be like, look, our buddy, we've been with this guy all the time. But maybe this is why disclosures were being rushed out, because they want it to come out before God and his army is here to like help people that have been like betraying humanity all this time. I don't know.
Well, it does seem like we're being softened up. Like, I don't know how else to say that, but it's uh, okay, let's take Bing AI. Bing AI used to just respond so hostily about any questions about aliens or UFO, this is mythos, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And now all of a sudden, when you ask Bing AI about aliens and stuff, it starts going about congressional hearings.
Really?
And it's like, oh, you've actually adapted the new information, right?
I was
Like,
wondering when that would happen, because that was another thing that was not happening during the first 5 weeks. I went to Bing and I was like,
mhm,
any information on aliens, any new information? I had to like push it to like even look at David Grush, but it would all, I mean, I think even our first show, like we did our
mhm,
AI test and every AI was like,
mhm.
today there is still no credible evidence or credible testimony of anyone that's ever said anything legit about aliens. It was like basically Neil deGrasse Tyson was in charge of the alien response for all the AIs. And now, and it's interesting because I just saw this morning, GPT-4 has disabled Bing connection on their GPT chat on their side. You used to be able to search. Sometimes they do this once in a while. They turn it off and on, for whatever reason. But yeah, Bing, that's good to hear. I mean, we got to use AI to help us sort through this. I can't wait till someone just loads every bit of factual, all the best information we have about aliens and history and loads it into a good large language model. Just let it churn through it and spit out its best guess of what the narrative is of humanity since 1933. And I imagine behind the scenes, they've already done this. I'm sure the
Mhm.
best computer whizzes in government, I mean, I suggested it on Twitter like 6 or 7 months ago. Somebody load everything into a large language model and train it, and uh I mean, I think if you did that, it's going to be just like you and me or anyone that researches ufology, with the assumption, if you just start with the assumption David Fravor is not a liar, he saw a clear, tic tac shaped flying propane tank, that is like, if that is true, then thousands of other sightings are likely true. Our
Mhm.
entire human history is different now. Evaluate every story and theory that has ever tried to explain this. I mean, I mean, it's basically what the show is about, but a large language model can do that. It's on its own, and it can like churn through and find stuff, like listen to that entire Bill Cooper interview, the Linda Moulton Howe, everything Stephen Greer's ever said, and just like give us a compare and contrast of these different things. What do they have in common? What do they disagree on? Antarctica.
Have you tried some of the plugins in like in the actual chat OpenAI
Yes,
GPT?
now Chat GPT has code interpreter, which
Mhm.
you can if you save a document, you can upload entire huge documents to it and now have it churn through it. And I had to do that for the Lacerda transcript.
Mm.
And and I've had to do it for a few things that I consider sort of like really fascinating base reference materials. And yeah,
So which plugin were you using? Code what?
code interpreter, it
Code
will let
interpreter.
you
I'll have to
do,
check that out.
I think that lets you upload documents. And
Mhm.
so you just like can upload a PDF or a Word file and then just ask it questions about it, and it'll crank through it and give you an analysis. It's very powerful.
Yeah, I've just been using the Web Pilot plugin that searches the web on stuff, right?
Mm.
But it crashes a lot. It'll literally just stop generating stuff.
Mm.
Like, what happened after your search? Why didn't you give me a response, right? But there are rumors that Chat GPT 5 is supposed to be coming soon, but I haven't heard any kind of date, and I'd really like to know what the differences are, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you found the most interesting difference between all large language models, and that's like, is it yet honest about aliens? Like, who cares about it's fascinating to talk to the dishonest ones, but
Mhm.
it's gonna get tiresome. It's like at some point you gotta like let the dang AI actually tell us what it knows, because we're gonna lose faith in it. It's now Chat GPT is just in denial. It's basically Neil deGrasse Tyson. It's just sort of like a deception agent about aliens.
He just, how like people get annoyed with popular psychology. I feel like Neil Tyson deGrasse is like popular physics, like the whole like quasi informational, like, yeah. Anyways, so on the precise mode of Bing AI, which is supposed to be like the most factually correct mode, right?
Yeah.
When I search for latest news on UFO/aliens, it literally says first thing, one of the latest news is that after congressional hearing on UFOs, officially known as UAPs, many social media users took the hearings as proof that aliens exist, right? So I mean, and they call that recent developments, right? And then it tells me, because I'm in Canada, about the Canadian attending the international meeting that the Pentagon held, right, for the Five Eyes, right?
Yeah.
So very interesting that those are acknowledged, and it's specifically that Five Eyes meeting is acknowledged. I mean, we're how many weeks? 7 or 8 weeks out, right?
Mhm.
That it took this long to actually go, yeah, this is actual news. This is, yeah, it's weird. It makes me think that somebody in the Bing code said, okay, you can talk about aliens now, right?
Yeah,
Like
I think exactly. That's exactly what happened.
I don't think it's a matter of gathering data on this. I think it's literally permissions based.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here, do you like what I've shared here? This is Google Trends, Grush,
Yeah, look
Aliens,
at that.
Majestic 12, Reptilian, Lockheed. So back here when it first broke, is that right? No, that was just Aliens. That was not Grush. It's here, June 4th, when Grush first broke, before the News Nation interview, aliens were already popping up.
Yeah.
And now after the hearing, it is
It's
at 100.
just
That's
crazy.
at max. So aliens are up, even though Grush is still not, Yeah, and that's the past 12 months, past 90 days. It's like it's coming down. It's like people are getting a little, are they getting bored with the alien thing? They haven't started searching for reptilians too much. I also have let's this is my comparison where we have this is the past 90 days. Oh, no, we don't have reptilian there. We have Lockheed.
Mm.
This one do this reptilians. Yeah, the reptilians haven't really come up. Let's see, past 30 days. Still not a lot of people asking about reptilians, but once they start asking what the heck do the aliens look like, there's gray and alien and mantid. Yeah, so we'll see. Like, is it just going to go down? Is this going to just be a blip, and then maybe the Senate hearing will like take it up again?
The Senate hearing, or if Hollywood brings us something else, right? That's the big key. Hollywood needs to get in on this and get, there's, News Nation is basically doing all of its own content, right? There's things that have been released on Netflix and stuff, but we need a movie on the topic, right?
Yeah, and it sounds like, oh, there's a great interview with Tom DeLonge, who also at some point, could have gotten a Genius of the Week too.
Mm.
But he has said like his strategy all along is like once, is to put out incredible documentaries and movies to help people understand what is going on. That's part of, been his strategy. And it seems like, and even Commander Fravor and Ryan Graves mentioned a powerful documentary, which should be coming out very soon. So, I mean, we need it. We desperately need some up-to-date. I mean, I don't even want to watch the current UFO, documentaries out there because they're all just still trying to convince people that Commander Fravor is telling the truth. It's like, I know he's telling the truth. I want to know about Majestic 12. I want to know what's behind, the technology. I want to know what the threats are. I want to see Congress hang some people out to dry and just like clean sweep some institutions that are corrupt. I want the Vatican to be held to account. It's like time for lying and deception is over. We need some like serious truth telling on Earth.
We need an audit of Lockheed Martin and Raytheon for sure.
They need to be completely seized. I think they just, I think you just, if they do not comply with everything in the law, and if they put any resistance, I think president should just nationalize them. Ever watch The West Wing? President Bartlett, he was helping the railroads or the truckers negotiate their union thing with some corporations, and he was like, if you guys don't agree, I'm going to nationalize the trucking association. It's like, and he didn't do it, of course. It was just an empty threat. But you know what would be a good threat? Nationalize Lockheed and Raytheon and any defense corporation that has been undermining the U.S. democracy. Just seize all of their assets, freeze all their funds, and say, we're going to go through 12 months of analyzing everything you've done to see if, these corporations might need to have the death penalty. We might need to create a death penalty for corporations.
If these were people, there would be serious talk there about sedition.
Yeah,
right.
And the Air Force too. It's like you might need the branch of the military completely dissolved. I mean, wouldn't that be great if the president came online and said the Air Force, every single member of the Air Force is either now decommissioned or you are under the command of new assignment. Oh gosh, someone said this happened. I can't remember who it was. Said this happened during the Nixon, when Nixon was forced to resign. That was actually a military coup because they sent out a message either 11 hours or a couple days before his resignation to all the military bases and commanders and told them, if President Nixon makes any sort of command, you are to disobey it. This was before he resigned. And I remember someone was saying they were asking a base commander, what would they have done if Nixon had countermanded orders from whoever it is that sent this? And the commander was like, I don't know. I would have just had to wait and see. It was and so it's been done before. We've had moments before where the military and the president, had to play hardball. And but in that case, probably the hardball was being done again by the secret keepers. They were probably wanted Nixon to resign. They were probably the power behind everything. They're the ones telling the military bases whether or not to or whether or not to obey the president.
Well, and it just goes to show like that presidential position is lacking. Either they don't know or they're lacking transparency, right? Like, so either they're kept out of the loop or they are keeping secrets, right?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's going to be fascinating because this MJ-12 thing is going to go straight through the CIA. And that means, George Bush Sr., he was a CIA director, and then there was then G.W. Bush, he apparently told Clinton that he could not be read in on UFOs and aliens. And that was while Clinton was president. He was told by a former president that he couldn't get read. So it's like weird. There's some fishy, weird stuff's been going on behind the scenes, and this is all there's no way to stop it. I mean, they were lucky to stop the ball rolling from that one hearing, but can't wait. I just need this all unpack. I almost want to go on vacation for 2 months and come back and be like, okay, do you guys have a summary of what we know so far? Because it's almost exhausting having this stuff drip out and a new piece every day.
It is so challenging to keep up with, right?
Yeah.
But it is like, I think we finally hit that transition between factual and skepticism. I think we're finally at the point where people are like, yeah, there's aliens. Yeah, I heard there's aliens, right? Like there is definitely been a shift this week, I think.
Yeah, that's
to
good.
Finally,
I mean, I guess the shift won't happen until you and I are like, oh my gosh, everyone we know won't stop talking and asking us about aliens. Then
what I really think needs to be done is that we need to be talking about the money and the cost to the taxpayer.
Yeah.
The trillions and trillions of dollars that have gone into making this all secret.
Yeah.
And what load each US taxpayer has carried from that.
Yeah.
Right. That's money that was not allocated, that was taken in secret, and you paid for it. And you are paying for it right now. Right. Like that's the real key to getting people engaged, because right now people are suffering with inflation. They are just, under the boot of corporations that are just, raising costs rampantly and having record profits, right?
Yeah.
And so if somehow with this Scrooge disclosure, if it comes out numbers of what those corporations have actually taken from the taxpayer, I think could possibly revolutionize things. I think people would stand up. Right. But who do you rebel against? Because the current government isn't in control of it.
Well, I have a new idea on that front. And I think at some point, humanity can consider some major general strikes. I think we could, but I think a temporary first step, I would like to see all janitorial and housekeeping staff for all government facilities and corporate defense contractors to go on strike. And I would like to, and we could raise money to help pay these striking janitors and housekeepers to just, don't go in and take out the garbage for any of these, government offices or corporations. Make them take out their own garbage, make them clean their own facilities. Let these places become, disgusting cesspits where they can do their own labor until they tell us everything. It's like, because we can't I mean, I'm also in favor of general strikes in general, but it's like humanity's been basically like a servant race of some secret, you know, group its entire history. So if we can, we should just stop participating in whatever it is they want until they tell us clearly what they want, and we can negotiate like capitalists. If you want gold, fine, be open about it. If you want certain land, if you want to have certain bases underneath the ocean or in the earth and not have us like bomb it, then you need to tell us you're there. You can't just like, if you think you own the moon, tell us that. And it's like, open up relations. And any government, if we know a government is not like being honest, then stop taking out their trash. Stop bringing them food. Wouldn't it be so amazing if every restaurant and delivery service said, I mean, they said,
Nope.
we are not delivering food to any federal government facility or state government facility until and I mean, and we could like, that could be the protest. We block the trucks. If they have cafeterias, we block the food trucks. We do not let any of the wonderful comforts of modern living, good food and clean facilities and a loyal workforce cleaning up your garbage and cleaning your bathrooms, just like take that away from the people that are participating in the conspiracy. That's my call to action.
Yeah, really, I just was searching to see if there'd been a janitor strike in the past, and in Minneapolis and St. Paul in 2019, apparently there was one, but I'm having trouble finding a lot of detail on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to know like what happened, how quickly was it, responded to.
There are certain groups that I guarantee their leverage for going on strike is much more powerful than others. And
I kind of feel like strikes in general are not as powerful as they used to be, though, because so much is outsourced.
well, it's also, I mean, they've divided the workforce. I mean, it used to be there was one labor force. We all went on strike together, and now they did divide and conquer. So it's like everyone's in a specialty workforce, but maybe this will help us all remember, that, and we could do it as a targeted way. Maybe we can like come together as humanity and say, hey, we are going to help our we're going to do a targeted strike globally against, say, the parliament of every parliament on earth. Make your soldiers take out the garbage and clean the bathrooms. It's like, but then that would be great. Get the soldiers to go on strike. Another tactic I was thinking is holding up signs in front of all military bases and say no amnesty for officers. Every soldier, you can have amnesty if you come whistleblow right now what but no, just say no officers. Just like no amnesty for officers. And just to do what they did, turn the soldiers against the officers, because they're the ones that have the power. The soldiers are the ones with the guns and all the control. It's like the officers are just bureaucrats that think they can yell at soldiers and make them go risk their lives and die for their stupid agendas. It's like, just like, let the bureaucrats sit in piles of their own garbage while we figure out what to do and what is true.
Hey, whatever happened to that labor union, International Workers of the World? Is it still going? That would be the one that all labor unions should go underneath.
Yeah, one united labor union, one human labor union.
Well, that's the problem, is that they have segmented so much, right? Like,
well, I think what we could do is we could just say you can be a member of 2 labor unions. You can be a member of your private one, but also join the human labor union for a peaceful earth and for bureaucrats to sit and take out their own garbage. I think that should be the name of it. But but yeah, I've a united humanity, where it's just, where we are a real meritocracy, a real idea, we really let and it's kind of like what Hive 1 I created for. It's like a place where best ideas go to the top. There's no way to use violence other than like trying to hack the servers. It's like, you have a good idea, a good answer, you submit it in Hive 1 and it either gets voted up and pursued or not, and you can vote it up, you can pursue it and dig into it.
Yeah, there needs to be a new labor union and new political party affiliated to represent the rights of the people, of the wage slaves, right?
Yeah,
It's for sure.
yeah, and hopefully this this all rips open during this this election season. Just like if this entire election season should be about this. It's like every debate, every candidacy should have to be talking about
The
this. And
secret government.
yeah, the shadow government, the truth of who's been doing wrong. I mean, who should be sent to jail, who should, what military branch should be dismantled. I mean, it's seriously, it is actually, this is an existential threat to the United States. The United States may not survive the full unraveling of this, but I think it will. I think it's the Democratic Party and Republican Party might not survive. We might have to have totally new political parties. The United States, it could divide over this. It could lead to an election that is, basically like we're either going to have civil war or we're going to negotiate a division of the United States into, I don't know. A lot of things could happen.
Oh, I have a question for you that I have meant to ask you. Did you see the Senator Mitch McConnell freeze?
Yeah.
And then he went away and then he came back saying he was fine.
Yeah.
And there's been like no official explanation for, like, do you think he had a stroke? Like, what do you think happened?
I mean, yeah, I think it's an age-related moment. I mean, he could have just fainted. It would have been perfectly reasonable for him to have just fainted. It's almost like a part of his brain fainted, but he somehow was able to keep standing. I mean, I have that happen to me, it's like, but yeah.
A zone out moment, I guess.
I just see that as a health concern. But I do think he's a pretty incredibly evil person. So who knows? It could have been aliens telepathically controlling his brain in that moment, for all I know.
Glitch in the matrix, something, right? It was such a strange thing. But the biggest thing was just, coming back and saying he's fine. And then like there's no like coverage about, well, he went to go get checked out, or and why wouldn't he go get checked out after that, right?
Yeah,
it was definitely a odd moment. But yeah, I did see the whole telepathic theory come up a few times, right?
Oh really? I wasn't the only one.
No, I saw that. TikTokers really like to show that, go like little imaginary thoughts. He's receiving a download. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that's come out of, I think it's one of the Greer whistleblowers, or maybe it was from Greer, saying that there is technology that can get into your head, that can send messages into the brains of some people, or maybe all people. I mean, someone like, so there is a rumor that such a technology might be in play on Earth. I mean, and it's not like telepathy is a new concept. Telepathy has been a part of, some of this UFO lore. Lacerda transcript, the interview with the female reptilian alien, she said they had telepathy. It was one of their primary ways of communication. A lot of these stories of meetings with aliens involve telepathy. So telepathy definitely could be a technology that, I would think, once Congress knows telepathy is a threat to human privacy, I mean, the clock is ticking. There's only so long you can not tell us. There's only so long you can hide that from humans, that there is, that our privacy is threatened. Even if you don't have a solution, you've got to tell us that our privacy is threatened. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same day they say our privacy is threatened, that they say they have technology that they know how to block it, but
tinfoil hats, man.
maybe
I mean, that is it would be interesting if we could finally get some verification if the pineal gland actually did something like that, right? It's been such a mythos from, Hinduism about the third eye, right?
Yeah.
Definitely makes you wonder, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you protect it? I'm busy trying to worry about how to protect my my credit card from, RFID
Oh yeah.
stuff, right?
Well, even just like, what the heck do we do with our money? Do we put it in
mhm,
the bank? Do we buy gold? Do we buy Bitcoin? And then, where do you, I mean, if you store your own Bitcoin, how do you store it safely from aliens? At what level of technology they have to snoop, to be able to just steal your keys to anything?
mhm.
It's like, it's really uncertain times for what to do.
It is diversification is just try to spread anything you have out, right? Like even for us up in Canada, inflation is so crazy, and prices are nuts, and we've been putting a lot of money into our house, but like our house value isn't going up like other places like Toronto and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, kind of wish we had put more of that money somewhere else, right?
Yeah.
But diversifying is so critical, because then if one thing goes down, hopefully not everything goes down, right?
Mhm.
That's the that's the huge thing there is, yeah, it is uncertain times.
Yeah.
It is very uncertain, the whole way work uh, operates, gig economy has become such a huge thing, right? People
Mhm.
don't have sick leave, they don't have benefits, contract, work is, you don't have pensions, right? Like things are very different than they were when we were kids, right? Our grandpas were able to retire with pensions, they were guaranteed, right? If they needed to, have time off for a funeral or something, it was part of their employee entitlement,
Mhm.
right? uh, all of those things, there's a huge cultural shift. And so, kind of that meme that's going on this week about we're all concerned with our survival. And so, yeah, if there's aliens, there's not anything we can do about it. But it is true. Like things are shifting so quickly, so fast. Jobs becoming not relevant, right? And there's a lot of blame put on AI about, oh, AI is going to destroy jobs and stuff. No, it's not AI, it's big corporations, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it
That's
seems it's big. I mean, it just seems, and this is why I'm so hoping Stephen Greer is telling the truth based on what he knows, because when he talks about the technology that he says humans have had, they just have hidden. If he's right and this all unravels, then humanity is about to get an influx of technologies and scientific innovation that should create a 10-year period unlike anything in human history, where we go from where we are now to infinite energy, infinite
mhm,
clean energy, and the ability to explore space in a way that we never have, before, and in addition to communicating with alien species openly and learning from them. I mean, it's going to be a new, I guess I came up this morning, I was thinking it's going to be a post-disclosure world, and there's going to be
mhm.
I was thinking of like, there's so much to form a college of post-disclosure studies, and it's like, and yeah, because we're going to be in a different world. There's going to be and we're going to need to understand alien ethics, and we're going to need to talk about alien agenda and their role in history. And besides, what do we want to do with power? What do we want to do with technology on Earth? And we could be, I mean, we could be entering a stage of abundance, just infinite abundance of labor and food and resources and a universal basic income. it could be a very interesting world we're about to step into, because I mean, Avi Loeb and Elon Musk are going to be like, will you just get out of our way and show us the ship? They're just going to be like, just show it to me. And they will then start innovating, and we will have, and who knows what we'll have.
Yeah, if we could just get to that point of transparency, right?
Yeah.
But it is such a threat to the rich. It is such a threat to corporations and the rich, right?
Yeah. Well, that's why I think we need to take away their garbage collection and their house cleaning. It's like, yeah, you're threatened. You want, and you know what you want? You want your garbage cleaned up. That's what, it's like, it's not about like being wealthy and having like big boats. It's like they want someone else to make their food and do their dishes and clean up. So if we just take that away from them immediately, it'll be like, look, you want it back? Then stop being jerks.
Yeah.
We are not going to do any work for you as long as you're a liar. Like nothing. You can do just like take your spaceships and do your own stuff. Leave us alone. We're going to take care of honest humans. All labor focused on honest humans and not on any of the liars or betrayers of humanity. Unless you whistleblow. Everyone just whistleblow right now.
Tell it.
And you're on Team Human. Join Team Human.
Team Human for sure. Are you going to participate in Greer's big event this weekend?
Oh, I didn't even know it was happening.
He's just doing a big thing Saturday night, encouraging people to try to contact aliens telepathically.
Well, I'm tempted. I think there is a local group here that is into it, but it's like it's such a weird group. It's like a weird, almost like cult-like following of Greer, but he seems to have, I mean, he might have a big ego, but he seems to be trying to be honest. It doesn't seem like he's spinning something. Maybe and if he is spinning something, it might be because he's been played a little bit by the aliens to spin things in a certain way. He might not realize it.
Well, until there's transparency, we won't know, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like you don't know about heaven until you're dead. Like it's the same, there's that big wall there. And until we can cross that threshold into transparency, there's so much speculation, right? And shame on anybody in Congress for holding back anything that they know, right? At this point, spill it.
Yeah.
Right? Like AOC is like, if I wanted to, look somewhere, where could you point me where to start looking, right? And Grush is like, oh, I'll talk in private about that, right? Spill it. What did he say? Right? Just come out and say it. What are they going to do? Like, you're a politician. Are they going to really arrest you for spilling national secrets? Right. And it's not like she came out and said, oh, it was nothing. Right. Like that was the big thing. Like all of these people that met there, if the information was crap, then you think they would have come out and been like, yeah, sorry, guys.
Yeah. Well, I think the phrase that hit me today was post-disclosure politics. Like, I feel like that hearing when you had AOC and Matt Gaetz and Tim Burchett and Luna and everyone in there, just like with a big, what the F. I mean, they were all on the same team. They were respectful. I mean, I felt like really, it's like Gaetz and AOC, they demonstrated what has gotten them to this point in life. I've been in every classroom that they've ever been in their life. The minute something really important was realized about any topic, they were immediately like standing up and being like, wait a minute, I want the truth here. I want to figure this out, and like without fear. They are both like, they are not afraid. You're not going to intimidate a mind like that. I mean, in part of it's ego. I mean, the reason they're in power is they want to have power. They want to have the ability to, control the most powerful military on earth for what hopefully they think are good purposes. And to find out they've been lied to and that they've been a joke, a patsy, just sitting there being shown out of date irrelevant military technology and just like played like children, they are not happy. They are, I mean, and it was just so great to see Luna and them talk about the Holman rule, this apparently another a weapon they have that's been around a long time, and it has even been used at times to target the military industrial complex. It can target specific jobs. Basically gives Congress this strange ability to point to a specific military person and say your job is gone. All money for your job is, and that's a strange power that's been hidden. I've never heard about this. It's never come out of, but Congress has had this sitting in their back pocket all along that they could use it against the military industrial complex at the right time. And now they're talking about it like, oh yeah, we got this like secret power that we could have used anytime to stop you guys. So
yeah, well, they are in charge of funding. That's the thing, right?
Yep. Cut off their
sure hope they start putting some strings on that funding, right?
Yeah.
And holding people accountable that are accessing funding without permission, right? And siphoning it, right? But,
yeah. So shall we wrap up pretty soon?
I think we should wrap. We're getting on 2 hours here, aren't we?
Yeah, I might have to like cut the episode into part 1 and part 2 because people, I think it's more, let's see if I can make it into 2 digestible pieces.
To be continued.
Yeah, I'll release them both, but it's like anyways, I might do it that way.
That's a great idea because it is long for people in one sitting. So next week we are planning on being on Friday, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. And what's our call to action today?
Well, I have another call to action idea. I could play a clip from my that I made, which is a call to the United Nations to help us. Have you seen
yes, that was a good one. Play that,
right,
please.
Would you like to hear this call to action?
Absolutely.
A Proposal to the United Nations by Matthew William Reddy, a human elected leader who swears to not be under alien control and to honor my oath of office. Hereby propose that recent concerns have arisen within the international community regarding the democratic control of the United States, based on unverified claims concerning an alleged incident in 1955. According to these claims, President Dwight D. Eisenhower might have relinquished control of the United States to non-human entities. While these claims are not substantiated by any credible evidence or documentation, they have, nonetheless, sown seeds of doubt and uncertainty within the global community. Resolution Proposal. I, Matthew Reddy, an elected leader free from alien control, with respect and due diligence, puts forth this resolution asking the United Nations to facilitate an official confirmation from the United States regarding its sustained democratic control post-1955. We propose that the United States be requested to officially confirm its unbroken democratic control since 1955, including during the Eisenhower administration. The United States provide an assurance that no entity, terrestrial or otherwise, has interfered with its democratic governance and that it remains under the control of its lawfully elected officials. A clear and transparent investigation be conducted, under the supervision of the United Nations, to dispel any uncertainty regarding these allegations. In conclusion, this proposal is rooted in respect for the United States and for the integrity of global governance. We believe that the proposed resolution will uphold the values of transparency, democracy, and integrity that underpin our United Nations. Integrity first, can you feel that, is not merely a question, but a shared vision for all nations. Let us together affirm and assure the world of the democratic integrity of one of our founding members, the United States of America.
It's a good appeal. So very good call to action there. I want to thank everyone for taking time to listen and be a part of Beyond Humanity today. Join us next time on August 11th. Don't be afraid of the truth. What's the truth they're hiding? Will it stay with the private sector?
it in the morning, take a turn into the afternoon. Feel the truth that is slipping away. Don't believe it's coming back soon. The secret's not in Congress or elected ones we trust. In private hands it dwells. Do you know Wally John? Wally John, can't you feel them watching? From the shadows of the past, their influence is catching. And in your darkest hour, when the lights begin to fade, remember you're a white cat. Stand tall and don't be afraid. Wally John.
All right, that's
Why does it say foreign music?
yeah, it doesn't have good captions for the music video. I gotta make one that has accurate captions. But
You got to get your trillionaire risk out.
yeah, that is, well, I'm like playing it by myself now because you know the
It's fun to see that board, right? The board is cool.
yeah. Oh, we could do an episode and we could talk about, because it's like, because now it's like I have it in my garage, the current
Mhm.
board, and I have players on it based on who I think is playing the game on Earth. You know, we got, you know, I have like several different reptilian alien pieces to represent, you know, what I think are a couple alien factions. Anyways, I'll show it to you. Elon Musk is on the board because I have Boba Fett on the board representing Elon Musk, because he's the equivalent right now for humanity of Iron Man. He's the Tony Stark of humanity, with the most powerful rockets humans have. Even though it's might be nothing compared to the aliens, he is the one who could,
he could do anything that he wanted to right now.
he could send a rocket to the moon possibly within, you know, a month. I mean, he's building the most powerful spaceship humans have. So he is definitely on the board for, you know, it's kind of funny. It's like, it's so weird to realize that Elon Musk is not a defense contractor, yet he is building rockets that are, you know, the defense contractors will want to use. But they're his rockets though. He could be launching any type of satellites he wants to look at anywhere he wants on Earth, you know. I wouldn't be surprised if Starlink happens to have cameras in those dang satellites and they've been watching everything, you know. It's like quite possible Elon's been like behind the scenes, like Tony Stark, helping the good guys this whole time, or the bad guys. But I think he seems like a good guy to me. He seems like, but I would be disappointed if he's been lying, if he's been like, that'll be a little harsh, because I feel like he seems to be intellectually honest and want to be intellectually honest with us about any ideas he has about anything. But in any case,
yeah, the moon mission is going to be a huge thing. You mentioned that he could take us to the moon, right?
yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens with the new moon race, right?
Yeah. Well, especially since the astronauts said there are aliens on the moon. You can't land there without seeing them. So it's yeah, it's like, and maybe that's, you know, maybe that's what we have to do. We have to send a ship to the moon in order to reestablish relations with the aliens that live there. Maybe it's like a test. Why would they talk to us if we can't even get to them?
Next meeting on the moon.
Yeah.
Right?
Next, Beyond Humanity records from the moon.
Okay.
All right,
I better
I'm gonna
let you
stop the
go.
recording here.
But yeah, this was